entertainment, those of you who have chosen to be entertained by comedy. I was told that there is also a concert, right? Who is the concert? Well, I'm competing with other people. I'm offended by this. I was hoping that every student would be forced to watch me. But what is going to happen over the next 40 minutes is I'm going to entertain you with a little bit of stand-up comedy. Now, some of you are muted. Some of you are not muted. Those of you who are not muted, you are the front row. You are required to provide the laughter, okay? But if you are not muted, you should be aware you're not muted and not start talking gossip about your professors, not start deciding to urinate or otherwise embarrass yourself. Make note of whether you are embarrassed or whether you are not embarrassed. But who am I? Who am I? For those of you who do not know me, I am Daliso Chaponda. I'm a Malawian comedian. Where is Malawi? Malawi, small country in Africa. We are the world's #1 supplier of Madonna babies. We are very proud to be a person of Malawi. Now, also, I will interact with you a bit. So anybody else who is not from the UK, please type in the messages. Tell me where you're from. Let me get a sense of where you are while I continue talking to myself, and then I will address you so you can give me feedback. You can ask me questions as I go. Hello, Ansam from Yemen. As Ansam did, feel free to type where you are or type things. Do not insult me, because you will lose the roast battle, okay? If you attempt to insult me, I will bring up your image somehow and I will tear you to shreds, I'm sure. Hello, Zimbabwe. Very good to have a Zimbabwean here. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but my big break in the UK was in 2017 when I did Britain's Got Talent. That was my big break. A lot of people don't know this. Initially, Isabel, I wanted to do Zimbabwe's Got Talent. Right? That was my dream. I wanted to do Zimbabwe's Got Talent. But at the time, in 2017, I found out that in Zimbabwe's Got Talent, no matter how many people voted, Robert Mugabe won every year. So I was like, I'm going to not join that competition. Very good to have you here, my Zimbabwean friend. Hello, good to have you, my Ghanaian friend, Durga. Very good to have you. And you seem to be the first Ghanaian I've met whose name is not Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. What does Durga mean? Somehow your family has switched away from the name of a day of the week trend. Good to have you. South Africa in the house. Ethiopia in the house. You know what I've realized? I've actually realized why I've been booked to do this. The East London University is actually the African diaspora university. We are taking over. So good to have you here. Hello, my Kenyan, Judy Kagwe. Great to have you here. Like, I'll tell you the truth. I am not Kenyan, but every year during the Olympics, anytime there's running involved, I pretend to be Kenyan, right? Because the Kenyans, you are the greatest athletes you have here. And I was inspired. Do you know Julius Yego? Judy, do you know Julius Yego? Any of you don't know Julius Yego? Julius is a very inspiring. Oh, we're hearing a little bit of feedback from somebody.
And you can only push so many tests through those labs. That's
okay,
why
maybe
the government is getting it so much difficulty, especially given as Matt has.
No, we're not hearing feedback. We're hearing some boring person give a speech.
Lots of
Do you hear this speech? You need to mute whoever's listening to me while in the background they've got some speech.
Chat, yeah, that's fine.
Hello, Robert Kyle. Hello, Robert.
Hello.
Okay, so now I will be able to see if you are the source of the sound. So, Robert, you are part of the front row, clearly. Have both of you graduated or just one of you?
No, this is my partner. She's going to be graduating next year.
Going to be graduating, assuming that the world is still here.
Yeah.
Don't know what to expect. Well, anyway, as I was saying, welcome to everybody. I am Daliso Chaponda, known to most people in the UK from Britain's Got Talent. I did it in 2017. I came third. I'm very happy with third because the way I look at it, coming third, if it was an Olympic 100 meters, it's like being the first white guy. right? It's entirely acceptable proposition. And the best part of it was actually my family, because my family wanted one of you, right? Wanted a person like, for example, Robert Cow. What did you study?
I studied education studies.
You studied education studies. Do you want to be a teacher or a professor?
Teacher.
You want to be a teacher? You see, you are somebody who is going to be educating, possibly through the medium of Zoom for the.
Oh,
for
no.
This is not what you signed up for, is it? Right?
No, not at
I
all.
would say that right now we've had over the summer, we've had so many families having to self-educate, having to do homeschooling, who never realized how hard it was. Teachers, you are finally appreciated. So Robert Kyle, teachers need to renegotiate their salaries right now. While people remember how much they hate their children, now is the time for negotiation. Good to have you in the house. And I will also say that I do not begrudge the person who won Britain's Got Talent the year I did it. The year I did it, it was a person called Tokyo Myers. Tokyo Myers, who is an absolute brilliant musician. And he gave all of the prize money to charity, to help underprivileged children. Isn't that amazing?
That is fantastic.
Yeah, you have all better be clapping wherever you are, because I would not have done that.
Where would you spend the money, sir?
I would be in Hawaii right now, okay? I'll just be chilling. I'd be like, I don't care about COVID. I'm on a boat, just chilling out, having all of the time. And I'm not a monster. I would have given some of the money to help underprivileged women, but that would have been on a one-by-one personal arrangement basis.
No, I understand that.
Oh, but you are all university people, and you get me thinking about when I was in university. Now, a lot of people think I'm a comedian. They're like, oh, you're an uneducated person. No, I had so much potential, okay? You got to know, I actually got into Cambridge University. Yeah.
Wow.
I got out with a computer and a television. They left a window open. It was absolutely great. No, but honestly, people, this has been a very odd year. It's been a very odd year because of COVID. We've all been, and I have done one of the most intense versions of lockdown because I live alone, right? I live alone. I've got a friend staying with me for the last 2 weeks, but literally from March until 2 weeks ago, I was in this flat alone, like alone. Going mad. You start fantasizing about things. I used to hate certain things. I dream of them. I dream of being on a crowded train. Oh yeah, I used to hate it. I would end up in a crowded train if I could, right? I think about, you know, those irritating friends you have who lean too close to you when they talk. Oh, I'd have a chat with one of them right now. I miss them. I even miss hugging people, even people with bad body odor, right? I'd bring it back. I'd bring it back if I could. Oh my God. Oh. And there's so much uncertainty right now. So much uncertainty. Now, you are, Robert Kyle, you are planning to be a teacher. Like I see Antonia Odisla is on the front row. Could you put on your microphone? I just want to ask you a question. I love your background. I love how you're rolling. I love everything you've got there. Could you tell me, Antonia, what did you study, Antonia?
Hi, well, I hope you can hear me because my kids just came back from school, right?
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah. I hear no kids. I just hear you.
Yeah, it's early childhood studies that I just
did. Early childhood studies. So you just studied how to deal with them. That's how much of a nightmare your children are. You're like, I need to study up because I can see one of them right now. One of the terrorists behind you just coming in, right? And I hope you are ready. I hope you are ready. Hello, is that your mother?
Hello,
I'm a stand-up comedian. Yeah. I also think this is oddly one of the most beautiful things about the time of COVID. Yes, it's depressing. Yes, it's lonely, but we are finding out way too much about our friends and families and coworkers. So many things have been revealed accidentally during Zoom sessions and Microsoft Teams sessions. But yes, congratulations to all of you, right? All of you. But I will say this.
Thank you.
I will say this. I've had a busy year. I've had a very busy year. Why have I had a busy year? At first, beginning of the lockdown, like everybody, I was sitting at home waiting for something to happen. And then, ladies and gentlemen, and then, oh, who are you showing us?
That's my mum.
Oh, what is going on? It's waving at me.
Yes.
This is confusing. I waved back at you on your phone. But
I thought I'd show you, mum.
why things shifted for me. I was doing nothing, and then
No,
Black
it's the guy who
Lives
came
Matter
third on
happened.
Britain's Got Talent.
Black Lives Matter happened, and what a lot of you
The
don't know.
comedian.
Rob, we can hear you explaining that I'm a comedian. Explain, press mute, and then explain away, or we're gonna have some stereo fun.
I'll tell
But
you more.
it was the Black Lives Matter movement ignited over the summer. And what a lot of you don't realize is anytime that something bad and black happens, all of the TV stations and all of the radio stations panic because they don't want to be racist, don't want to be seen as racist, and so they call me, right? I've never had so much work in my life. I was on ITV, I was on BBC, I was on the radio all the time, black person to hire, giving my opinion on stuff which I have no business giving my opinion on. Last week, I had to talk about the lyrics of Land of Hope of Glory. I did not know this song existed until 5 minutes before I was on the radio, right? I have been in this weird situation though, where of course I don't want racist things to happen, right? Of course I don't want racist things to happen, but at the same time, it's really good for my career. All black entertainers into this weird position where our souls are Martin Luther King, pure MLK, but our brains are KKK. We're like, if something goes wrong, we're in high demand. And of course, not when it's a tragedy, like somebody who is beaten up or something like that. But the sweet spot for entertainers is when somebody famous and white just says something racist. Oh, I love it. I love it because look, I get all of the exposure and it's not really that bad. They just have to apologize on Twitter. So now, anytime anyone famous and white is speaking, I'm like, just do it. Just do it. Like, David Beckham's giving a speech and like, just do it. Just do it. I can tell you, the more high profile they are, the better, right? If Adele dropped the N-word, I'll get a TV series. Like, people would just be like, do something. You need to do something to redress them. Oh, but it was, I don't know if any of you went to demonstrations, like in the chat type, if you went to a Black Lives Matter demonstration or any of the demonstrations which have been going on in this this last few months. I went to one in Manchester, the Manchester Black Lives Matter, and I don't know if any of you have been to, there were loads of people there. We were all socially distanced, so we were spread out even further than you usually are at a demonstration. There was someone at the front giving a speech with speakers, but because we are all spread out, all I could hear was, and then everybody would clap, and then everybody clap for like an hour. I'm standing there bored. I don't hear a word, and someone's like, "Why aren't you clapping?" And I was like, what do you mean, why aren't I clapping? I don't hear what he's saying. I'm not going to clap unless I know what I'm clapping along to. He was like,
right.
Don't you think Black Lives Matter? I said, I do. Look at me. Willy-nilly, unless I know clapping it. Just because people agree that Black Lives Matter doesn't mean everything in this speech. Saying something like, and because Black Lives Matter, we need to stop serving black pudding. And I'll be clapping. What did got to do with it? You know what I mean? Like, he could just be singing out random lyrics. He could be saying, we are family. Everybody's clapping. I got all my sisters with me and everybody's clapping. I need to know what people are clapping at, right? And that's the last thing I will say about this is, of course, one of the controversial things which have affected especially university students is the renaming of things. They started saying We need to rename things which have, and some angry people have said, hey, you're erasing our history. You're erasing our history. And I didn't know that you could acquire the history of an object by just looking at it, right? I didn't know by looking at a statue or seeing a name, I suddenly know everything about it. But of course, possibly the peak of it was in Bristol, right? They took down the Edward Colston statue, threw it in the river because he owned slaves. People were very angry. And then a week later, there was now a Black Lives Matter statue on the same plinth. It survived for 2 days. And then there was a lot of pressure from the All Lives Matter people on the council, and they took it down, right? Now, I bring this up because I've realized something, okay? There was this statue of Edward Colston, upset a lot of people. It was taken down. It was a cathartic moment, a moment of celebration in Bristol's Black community, right? Then they had the Black Lives Matter fist up statue, and when it was taken down, it was a moment of celebration for some of the right-wing people in Bristol. So maybe that's what they need to use the plinth for. Every week, put up someone else, right?
Yes,
Just
please.
to make it like a routine thing, and every week people can feel satisfied when it's torn down, right? You're angry at put up a government member, right? No matter who we are, you don't like Katie Price, put her up on the plinth. Make them pinatas and whack them and sweets come out. That's how we bring society together. I say on every television show and every radio station, the constant question I've been asked is, well, I'm a foreigner. I've been in the UK for 10 years. Do I find the UK racist? Do I find the UK racist? What's my experience? And I've had an interesting experience because I've lived in around 14 different countries, right? And overall, I'm not saying it's perfect, but overall, the UK is the most accepting place I've ever lived because you've got pockets of nutters, right? But most of them could not care less, right? I'll go so far as to say most British people hate each other more than foreigners.
Yeah, I definitely agree to that. I will definitely agree.
Streets of Manchester, someone even said to me, you're black, at least you're not from Liverpool. Right? Case in point, how much you hate each other is the last 2 years have been spent yelling at each other over Brexit. I had to go back to Africa just to see what a stable government looks like. But I'm not saying it is paradise. Of course, it's not paradise. What I do get is ignorance, right? I don't get a lot of racism, but I get a lot of ignorance. Now, ignorance is not as bad because you can have a conversation with someone, you can explain things to them, but I do get ignorance, right? Case in point, after a show, a posh white lady approached me once, and she clearly was a fan, right? And she was like, you're so funny. You're so funny. It's so inspiring. The way you came from nothing. And I was like, what is this woman on about? What does she mean I came from nothing? She's like, you came from nothing. And the more she spoke, I realized this woman had watched way too many Oxfam ads. She grabbed hold of the fact that I'm from Africa and just started imagining some narrative where I grew up in a refugee camp with flies flying around my face or something. She was saying something like, how do you speak such good English? You've come so far. And yes, Malawi is one of the poorest countries in the world, but I wasn't. We had a Volvo. Of course, I speak good English. I spoke better English than she did because I actually went to very posh schools. Now, Carrie Hollick agrees with me, saying that they're from the USA and you've been here in the UK for over 14 years. And it's great. It is great, Carrie, actually. And Carrie, I'll tell you the other thing is I traveled and I gig in the US. Now, not all the US, not big cities like New York, but I've noticed in some places in the US, I get crazy questions. At least in the UK, you know, Africa's a real place.
Yeah.
Had someone approach me and he was like, you from Africa? Are they cars in Africa? I just messed with them. I said, no, we ride the elephant. We put the arrow. We say, go, Dumbo, go. But I'll tell you what's weird is people always assume that I'm talking about white Americans. No, the weirdest question I got was from a Black American, because to him, Africa was the motherland, right? It was his roots. And he came to me mighty excited, and he was like, yo, dog, you from the motherland? You from Africa? Wakanda forever? Viva Africa! Can you do me a favor, brother? Can you give me an African name? I was like, yeah, I can give you an African name. He said, I want a real African name. I said, okay, your name is now Mazunzo. Good African name. My brother's name, he wasn't happy. I said, no, dog. I want a real African name. I want a name with a click. I was like, no. He was like, that's amazing. What's it mean? I said, it means you're Asian. That's what it means. UK, you know, at least I get ignorance, but I'll tell you what's funny is this lady, even this, there was no malice in her thinking that I grew up in some parody version of Africa. But the main thing which was funny is that she didn't realize I went to one of the most British schools in the world, right? Essentially, Hogwarts, Malawi. Right? Because legitimately, it didn't make sense. Now, I look back at it, I realize how weird it was. But when you're a kid, you don't question it. Like, we used to dress in uniforms like the kids here, even though we're on the equator boiling, right? They were trying to replicate the UK. History class in Malawi, surrounded by Malawians. You'd think maybe I'd learn a little bit of African history, Malawian history, South African history. No, Henry VIII.
What?
William the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Language class. You had this experience, Olivia. What country?
Zimbabwe.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about. What languages did you learn?
English.
I was no Chichewa, that's the Malawian language. No Swahili, no Zulu, no African language. English, French, Latin. Latin's a dead language. There's no around going, I'm a bow, I'm a bus, I'm a bus. My crazy school thought there's more chance I'm going to run into the ghost of Julius Caesar than an African, right? And of course I accepted it, right? Because when you're a kid, you just accept what you're taught. But as I grew older, I realized in loads of subtle ways, my school was telling me that my culture was terrible and British culture was amazing. And then I moved here and I heard people saying, why do all these immigrants come here? I'm like, you prepared me.
Amen.
You taught me English and about William the Conqueror. They should have taught me Japanese if they didn't want me to come here. My dad's very happy I'm here because my dad was one of these over-educated people who he's one of those, you know, I'm not that African. Then I always say this, you know, when people are looking for that African who grew up in a village and changed his life, I'm not that African, and I don't need to be because that was my dad, right? My dad grew up in a village through education. He went to Yale University, totally changed his life. And I don't have to be that African because of my mother, right? Because she was grew up in an African village, got a scholarship to UCL, right? I don't know if you're rivals, but either way, she got a scholarship to UCL and she changed her life. And it's so inspiring, but it's a lot of pressure, right? Because my parents literally went from like village with no sanitation and to being successes. I have no excuse to fail. Could you imagine if I had kids and I'm a failure now and I have to do some explaining because they're going to be looking at the pictures of my parents' house and they'll be like, Dad, what happened? I'd have to spin it, right? Any of you becomes a failure, just spin it, right? Think of it. You just have to tell the government method, just spin it. All you need to do is tell them like, oh, you kids are so lucky. You're so lucky. Walking 10 miles to school every day. When I was a little kid, we were driven. Oh my God. Actually in the Malawi government. My father's in the Malawi government, and it's no wonder because he became Minister of Education after retiring. He retired, couldn't stay retired, joined the Malawi government, became Minister of Education. And I'm not surprised because when I was a kid, no matter what grades I got, they were not enough, right? If I got 5 A's, 2 B's, they no.
What happened to the other twos?
Child, yourself. If I got 7 A's, 1 B, it said no. Reaching your potential, apply yourself. And I understand. He was hard on me. It's because he wanted me to be the best version of myself. As I said, he went from village to being a lawyer, and he wanted the same kind of arc for me. The good thing, though, is that nowadays, you know, I can call him and we can talk about Malawi. I could talk to him about Malawi. I called him the other day and I said, Dad, you're in the government. There are food shortages all across Malawi. People are on strike. I don't think you're reaching your potential.
Sweet.
Apply yourself, Dad. And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad. Oh, we've got some very young graduates. I see Constance. Hello, Constance. How are you doing? Now, are you the graduate or is this young person next to you? Are they the graduate? Are they like, oh, put on the sound. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Hello, Constance. Hello, Constance. And are these your children around you?
Yeah, these my children, yeah.
Okay. Are you proud of your mom?
Yeah.
Aww.
If her grades were bad, would you be like, no, she's dumb. No, she's dumb. Well, glad. So congratulations to you. What did you study, Constance?
Psychology.
Psychology. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, why are you clapping? Psychologist. I dated a psychologist. You cannot win an argument with a psychologist. They know how the mind works. You people are kind of shit. I remember arguing with my girlfriend. I'd make a good point and she'd go, that's not you talking. That's your fear talking. I know what my fear sounds like. My fear doesn't do voice impressions. That's congratulations to you, psychologists. Mental health is extremely important, especially now during this COVID stuff, because sometimes it's like, I'll tell you what's interesting. Like, I've got a good career, so I've got savings, so I can't really complain about the last 6 months. I haven't been as bad as others. But what I feel like it is for a lot of people is it's like you have weights around your feet, right? So you're not starving, you're not struggling. Some people are, but every day it just gets a bit heavier. And like, hope is so dangerous. Like, so things were getting better. And then now, oh, we're back to 6 people only. Oh no, just when I was getting excited, planning things. And I'm like, oh, and the problem with the rules, though, is some of the rules don't make sense, right? I don't know how they are. Like in Manchester, there's some weird rules, right? Yeah. Like I have a person from another house over, but I can go to the pub, which has 26 people. Doesn't really make sense. And also, I'm a single person, right? And I'm not allowed to have someone who's not from my household over. How am I going to find this? I found the solution. I just go out with a lease in my pocket. Things go well. I'm like, yes, I'll give you an eviction in the morning. But I was talking about my father. As I said, my father is a politician in Malawi, and I can finally talk about this. I wasn't allowed to talk about it for a long time. My dad was put on trial, right? He was put on trial on suspicion of corruption. He was arrested. It was very scary. It was an entire year, and he was found innocent of all charges. It was like a political tactic to, discredit him. I was so relieved he was found innocent, because I'll be honest, I was like 80% sure he was innocent. 100% sure. Now, I don't know if anyone here or anyone who's watching has had a family member who's been arrested or charged of a crime. Just put it in the chat, right? Oh, you who are next to Robert Kyle. Is it Robert Kyle who you're talking about?
What?
Was it a family member? Oh, it's news to Robert has no idea. Was it a friend or family member?
My dad sped through a red light.
Your dad sped? That's not the crime I'm talking about. What a letdown, okay? We were here thinking, oh my Lord, her dad was a drug dealer, or he was like arms manufacturer, something sexy, something which you could write a book about. You could not write a book of a confession I spent through. Fine. Think about, I was actually worried about my dad, and then things got really surreal because somebody tried to blackmail me. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, they were really direct, right? Because I'm the only person in my family who's on social media, right? My dad's not Facebook account. So all the people knew where to get me. So every day I was getting emails from people who, oh, your father's a thief, you bastard, you chapondas. And then I opened an email which began, hello, I am blackmailing you. Your father is on trial. He's guilty. I have evidence. Give me 5,000. Or I tell the newspaper. And I got, he went from 80% to 60%, right? Because I was like, oh no, what if my dad actually did it? I had to think about it. What if my dad actually did it? Would I want him to go into, because he's still my dad, right? He's still my father. He was a good dad, even if he's not a good human being. And I was like, but I wouldn't want to be involved. I wouldn't want to be paying off somebody, but it's my dad. I've got to tell my dad and he can decide. But I got a scary thought. I tell my dad, somebody's blackmailing you. Once £5,000 to destroy the evidence. Imagine my dad's like, here's the money, destroy that evidence. That'd be really depressing because it would mean he's guilty. And 60% is better than 0%, right? But at the same time, I realized, I've got to do it, have to do it. So I called him finally, got up the card, and I said, Dad, this is really awkward, but somebody's been trying to blackmail us. He says you're guilty of a crime, and he's got evidence, and he's going to give it to the police unless you give him £20,000.
It was 5, wasn't it?
If he's guilty, I want a cut. There was some inflation between me getting blackmailed and me telling my dad, and unfortunately, my dad just laughed it off. I could have used the money. But one of the things which we'll all be trying to pursue once you graduate is you're going to be all after that mystical life-work balance, right? Where it's your life and your work. And I have a big problem with this. Like, I spend so much time on my career. I have canceled a date because a gig came up. Like, it's all about my career. I write for hours every day. And I was talking to a therapist. I was talking to a psychiatrist like you, Constance. And they said, you know what the problem is? You spend all your time on your career, right? You're spending 6 hours on your career and you're spending no time on your personal life. And you're wondering why things are not going well, right? But I was like, look, think about it. You can spend 6 to 7 hours on your career and it's fine. If I spend 6 to 7 hours trying to make someone fall in love with me, that's called stalking.
Yeah.
But people are looking for love, and very frustrating. The world is built for couples. Think about it. It's all Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. Why don't they have one Lonely People's Day? Where you eat your own box of chocolate and just cry and nobody loves me. I need my own day.
I thought that's what Valentine's Day was.
That's what you think Valentine's Day was? But you are clearly with somebody right now, rubbing it in.
I'm more than happy.
Married.
Engaged.
Engaged. Congratulations. When is the
Thank you,
wedding?
sir. Pardon?
Getting married, when?
We don't know.
You like postponed and then COVID said, ha!
Yeah.
Wait.
Precisely. I proposed on New Year's when the clock struck 12.
Proposed on New Year's when the clock starts 12. I see people clapping like he's romantic. He's not romantic. He just never is going to forget. Right? Propose on have wedding Valentine's Day. Save yourself some money and you can just be doing a joint wedding gift, anniversary gift. I see how you're thinking, and I admire it. Or get married on her birthday. Be a genius. I like how you're thinking. Yes. Oh, no. Good luck to you, right? Good luck to you. But I mean, I'll say that one thing I've noticed about the UK is it's full of weird insecurities. Like beautiful people, no idea. No idea, right? It's not really this. I saw a woman looking at a mirror upset. I said, what's wrong? She said, it's a fat mirror. This mirror makes me look fatter than I really am. I said, wow, I think my eyes have the same problem. And I'm kidding. I didn't make fun of the insecurity because, of course, she was insecure. The culture here is insane. This is the first country I've ever been where you have got nudity in newspapers, where you can go from page 1, 500 people died. You turn the page. I'm Amy from Newcastle. Right? Look, I'm not a prude. I'm not a prude. I'm fine with all the nudity. But in my limited experience, I've noticed the human body comes in different shapes and sizes. You would not know this from your zoos and your loaded and your daily sports. It's all anorectic looking women, very suspicious looking breasts, right? I think it's time for a change. We need a little bit of variety, different shapes and sizes. Wouldn't it be exciting if you never knew what you're gonna get, right? Like you pick up zoo and loaded, you flew. Oh, I did not expect that. It would be amazing. And I am the man to change it. I think I could be the Martin Luther King of porn.
Yes.
I have a wet dream, brother.
Yes, please.
It's a very silly joke, but it's based on truth. Everybody is insecure. Men are just as insecure, if not more insecure. Why do I say possibly more? This might be controversial. The reason I say it's possibly more is because there's no honesty between men, right? Men bottle up their feelings and don't say anything. At least my female friends, I've heard my female friends having a conversation. One of them said, I'm having a bad day. I feel bloated. And her friend said, no, you look lovely. It's all in your mind. Buy that dress. This beautiful support has never happened between me and my male friends. I've never been able to call, hey, Kyle, I feel like I'm retaining water. Kyle would laugh in my face.
Oh, no.
A very weird, toxic relationships where you've got to be a man. I'm a man. You've got to maintain manhood. I'm a man. It's ridiculous. Men in the UK can't even hug each other. Can't even hug each other. They get awkward when you hug them. They're like, oh, kind of weird, homophobe. And sometimes you need a hug. That's the only time in your weird culture I've noticed it's okay to hug a man. No questions asked is when you're watching sports. After the second window, when anything goes. I just see in the chat, Connor Sean says that you should have your wedding on Zoom, Rob Kyle.
What?
Have your wedding on Zoom. That would be very risky because you know Zoom keeps dropping connections. It could be like, if there is anybody here who has a reason why these two should not get married, speak now or forever hold your peace. And someone's like, I have a problem. Oh, the connection dropped.
Oh, 5G. Wait for the 5G.
Oh, wait for 5G. Oh, Lord, the 5G. Like, I hope. Now, look, you are intelligent university people, but I'm sure among you, you have some conspiracy theorists, right? It's gone absolutely crazy during Corona. Every possible explanation. 5G is doing it. The devil's doing it. All sorts of explanations. More power to it. I am getting ready with a vaccine and holy water to exorcise the demon. Whatever happens, it's not gonna get me. Speaking of faith, especially with religion, with a university with so many cultures, clap your hands or in the chat, just type if you are religious. Robert, Kyle, what's your name? The lady? Sarah, what's your?
I'm a Christian.
You're Christian, like okay, but let me tell you this: it's not like me because I'm an African Christian, right? churches. Right? I see some other Africans nodding their head. It's not the same. Okay, it's not. Okay. I grew up going to African Pentecostal churches, and let me tell you this: they are a lot of fun. They are clapping, right? People singing. There's a little bit of call and response. Anytime the preacher says something you really agree with, you say, "Amen." You say,
Our church does that.
it's a party you look forward to every week. This is what I grew up with. The first time I went to a British Anglican church, I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
It was so boring. I was looking around like, somebody stand up. God is busy. You've got to get his attention. And
We
have
do
got
dancing,
miracles.
eating, all sorts of celebrations at ours.
Eating and celebrations at yours?
Dancing and painting during celebrations.
Painting. I gotta say, painting I've never heard of, right? What do you paint while he's preaching? Are you like painting whatever he says? He says, "Blessed are the meek." Paint meek person quickly. I do not understand. But I love it. I love it. So creative expressions of your faith. That is beautiful. I need to go to one of your churches, not the ones which I went to, because the ones where were really dreary. And after an African church, we've even got miracles. Oh yeah. People laying hands. I could tell you. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. I was once next to a woman who started speaking in tongues. I didn't expect it. She just got up randomly and started going. I didn't know what it meant. Then I moved to the UK. Now I know it was Welsh. Gary Hawk says that her aunt speaks in tongues, and she did it at your dad's funeral. That, I don't even know what the etiquette is for when someone starts speaking in tongues. I guess you just leave them to it. Leave them to it. They're having a moment. Just respect them, right? That's a very fascinating thing. Yeah. Now, I will say this: we're almost. Where's the organizer people? Organizer people said I've got till 1:45. Do I have to end at 1:45, or do I have a few minutes because we started a few minutes late?
You can have a few more minutes.
Okay, I'll wrap it up. I'll do 2 jokes. If you have any questions, put them in now because we're almost at the end. We're almost at the end. Okay, so I will tell you this. I will tell you that we're living in an interesting time, but a lot of people say, "Oh, you can't say anything anymore." This is nonsense, right? You can say whatever you want. You just have to defend it. You just have to be able to defend it. Nobody's being locked up over stuff they say. I say this as what I love in the UK is I can make fun of everything. I make fun of Boris Johnson. No problem. In fact, I gotta say, I've probably got 2 hours of jokes about the man, right? Right? I can talk about religion, no problem. Maybe if I find someone, I have to explain myself, but I can say it, right? I think there's a difference between freedom of speech and being held accountable. Good thing here is you can say what you want, you just have to explain yourself afterwards. Because there are places in the world where you actually can't say something. For example, I was almost arrested in Malawi for a joke, right? I did a joke and I thought I was safe because, as I told you, my dad was in the government. You think I've got some kind of protection. So at the time, Malawi had changed its flag, okay? Malawi used to have a rising sun flag, and one of our governments decided, no, we're no longer a rising nation. Replace it with a full sun. And they turned it to a full sun, messed up our flag, and I made fun of it because I was like, look at it. We've got food shortages. We've got power cuts. Maybe it should be an eclipse. That's all I said. Not even a revolutionary thing. I did that joke on Monday. Tuesday, every newspaper in Malawi said, minister's son ridicules government. I got a call from the Malawi censorship board, angry. They said, we have heard you are trying to bring down the government. We are going to arrest you. What? Where do you aside, I was very scared, but actually I got away with it because I just bribed somebody. Right? That's
okay.
You just slip a bit of money and you get through the situation the African way. So I will leave you with the story. Before I leave you with my final story. Oh, first of all, I've got a few questions. Antonia Ordisla says, what is my number one lockdown tip, right? My number one lockdown tip is simple. If you are lonely, what you need to do is you need to get yourself some of these, okay? Get yourself some stuffed animals, okay?
Yes.
They work.
Go get the stuffed animals now.
I've got an elephant and I've got a panda. Here's the panda pandemic. Yes, yes. I see everybody's doing it. We've got a tiger over there. We've got a bear over there. Trust me, if you are lonely, just get a stuffed animal. I see your daughter has gone to get her as well. Share a ghost story, says Ansam. Actually, you know what I can do? I don't have a ghost story, but I do have a demon story. So I'll close on a demon story for you, Ansam. And again, before I do my last joke, which will actually not be what I was going to do, it'll be a ghost story of sorts. Before I do that, what's your name of your daughter, by the way, Constance? No sound.
Olivia.
Olivia, I love the dolls and I love them. Thank you for bringing them. And thank you for watching the show, every one of you. And congratulations to all of you, the class of 2020. Let me do my last joke. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will say this, okay? Because Ansem asked for a ghost story. I will tell you this. I told you my family was religious, right? But they were also a little bit bonkers. Because my teenage years, I started acting up. I was 13, right? A lot of families would have called a psychiatrist, right? They would have called like Constance into the house to help them out. My family called an exorcist. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been exorcised. I don't recommend it. They strap you to the bed with ropes. They start pouring holy water in your mouth and gibbering in Latin. I understood every word. My dad did not think this was enough. He believes you spare the rod, you spoil the child. There was a big wooden crucifix. He grabbed it, passed it to the priest and said, beat him! Beat the out of him! He got to whack me. I was on the bed going, ah, ah, ah. So understandably, when the priest said, evil spirit, I figured I better play along. Exorcist movie. I cannot turn my head around 360 degrees, but I gave it a good shot. I was like, voice, I was like, I am evil spirit. Said, evil spirit, leave this boy. I said, I'm leaving. Yeah, I pointed at my dad and said, I'm going into him. All of you students, all of you staff, thank you so much for having me as a guest. Congratulations. I know we're all in the middle of a very surreal time, but things will return to normal eventually. Life goes on. And, you know, if you had bad grades, just blame it on a rogue algorithm and you will be fine, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a delight educating you.
It's been an honor to speak to you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Daliso. Amazing.
Bye. Is that
Thank
it?
you. Thank you so much. See you later.
Hang up. Someone from organization, right? This is the moment I hang up.
Yes, absolutely, Daliso.
Thank you.
Okay.
What happened?